Disclaimer: the following video is not meant for young children and may include crude humor and harsh language. Viewer discretion is advised. In this adventure, I attempted to go from a Terraria Novice to a Terraria Master by beating the game on Master difficulty. To spice things up a little bit, I made the world on the Drunk Seed and another seed that makes underground buildings a little larger, just because I wanted to see what it would do to the world. I walked into this playthrough with a little bit of confidence, but quickly realized that there is such a thing as overconfidence. I started off by gathering some wood for a starting home, and then by attempting to flatten an area, only to realize how fragile I really was on Master Mode. Understanding that every little bit of damage could be fatal, I began setting up my home, while the party girl wandered around aimlessly like a drunk sorority girl. Slowly but surely, I turned my house into a home, and I made sure it was set up with a few rooms for some villagers to move into. With a nice framework for a house, I took my ventures underground in order to acquire some ore and life crystals, as well as some useful gear. Picking up emeralds and a little bit of silver ore, I was quickly humbled by a worm. Upon respawning, I decided to see what else I could find, and stumbled upon an Abigail's flower near where I had previously died. With a summon on my side, I would surely be able to carry myself on this journey. Or so I thought, before quickly dying to the very next slime I ran into, and then dying again to a trap chest on a mine rail. Upon my return, I was greeted with a magic mirror and a life crystal. Not far away was some Hermes boots. I find myself another life crystal, only to quickly be reminded that the world is a scary place. Nevertheless, I returned to claim my prize before finding a glowing mushroom biome, only to be killed instantly again.
What just killed me? I had full health.
But it was nothing to lose sleep over, as a blood moon was rising. I collected myself and I tried to fend off the hordes of the damned in the hopes of acquiring a money trough. Except I died, and 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 died some more. I did eventually make a decent bottleneck with the Abigail blocking the door, but it was short-lived as I died again anyway. And again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again.
So that went poorly. That went absolutely poorly. And we did not get the money trough.
After the night was over, I had turned my attention to exploring and found a large collection of living trees, and I had hoped to find a finch staff, but was disappointed yet again. And again, and again. Thankfully, there was a snow biome underneath the living trees, so my focus switched to getting flinxes in order to get a decent summoner loadout. But it was cut short by dying the second I found a flinx. I noticed my inventory had become a bit of a train wreck, so instead of rushing back, I took a moment to add some storage to my house. Then I returned to hunting flinks. Thanks to the drunk seed, I found a jungle house close by, and I went to investigate, only to be disappointed with a flare gun, instead of the feral claws I had hoped to find. I did, however, find an ice boomerang, which would prove useful, and then continued on my flinks massacre. I was also blessed with a fiberglass fishing rod that would aid me in my least favorite part of the game: gathering fucking potion materials. I died shortly after, and I figured out where I was sitting in terms of flinx fur.
Wow, so we're literally just barely halfway there. That sucks.
Not happy with my numbers, I returned to slaughter more flinks, as well as obtain webs to make cloth, collecting some life crystals in the process. I then became very confused as I found a living mahogany tree in the middle of the caverns. which I can only assume was due to the drunk world seed. But it had an anklet of the wind, so I guess I was okay with it. I returned to make my flink staff before heading back to find some feral claws and to kill some jungle monsters, but was rudely interrupted by another blood moon. I decided to head back and try my hand at it again for a money trough. Although I died initially, this blood moon was significantly better than the first. My flinxes were the attack dogs I never knew I wanted, and my emerald staff and frost boomerang provided long-range options for the undead mob.
Wow, that's pretty close. Pretty close. But you know what I don't see? That's right. It's Biggie Bank.
I bought a whip with my earnings and then began to set up a small fishing station for another blood moon, which did not end well. While I did manage to kill 2 undead mermen, it was not worth the effort in the slightest, as I still did not get a money trough, and I didn't manage to fish the enemy I needed to get the summon I wanted. I took some time to detail my house and make it look a little more like a home than a shell, adding a roof as well as some fencing and wooden beams for decoration. I explored the world, finding the crimson to my right, and then explored again, finding the dungeon and the corruption to my left. I decided to try my luck at breaking some orbs in the corruption with the hopes of attaining a vile thorn. However, I would be sorely disappointed with 2 muskets. With 3 orbs broken, the Eater of Worlds stopped by for a quick chat before devouring me whole. After all the commotion, I decided to flatten out my spawn a little bit and make more housing and an arena. While exploring, I noticed a bass statue off in the distance. I searched below, finding a house, but the statue was nowhere to be found. Just above that, there was the bass statue. And not only that, there was a chest containing yet another bass statue. With the statues in hand, I felt confident to attempt the Eye of Cthulhu. With the Eye of Cthulhu out of the way, I went to continue spelunking, but was interrupted by a goblin army heading my way. So I quickly returned home and prepared for the goblin genocide. After I had covered my lawn with goblin goo, I decided to work on the elevator, but was once again interrupted. This time by Slime Rain, which would in turn mean the Slime King.
Okay, here he is. Oh, come on. Be able to move.
After whipping King Slime into shape, I decided to not learn my lesson and fish during a blood moon. Not only dying some more, but also still not getting a money trough. So I turned my attention elsewhere, digging a hole directly to hell, where I would proceed to make a nice long road of dirt. I also prepped the corruption for a fight with the Eater of Worlds, only blowing myself up several times in the process. I took a break from blowing stuff up in order to find a marble biome because I just like the way marble looks. Then I resumed blowing stuff up in order to collect a large amount of marble. I returned home and began work on some more villager housing using the stone slabs and freshly gathered marble. After taking a break from building, the playthrough would take an immediate turn in my favor when a dragon egg was detected by my metal detector.
Oh! Oh! It's there! It's there! Huge dragon egg! I don't know where it is, but we're finding it. Oh! I see it! I see it! I see it! Oh, buddy! The game has just changed. It is now completely over. Why are there so many crabs?
I'd found a chillet, and I knew that I would be able to start fighting bosses more efficiently, as the chillet had what was called a ram dash, a short dash that provides a small burst of invincibility, which would be incredibly useful against specific bosses. I took her back home, and in order to test her out, I fought the Eye of Cthulhu again and again and again and again. Finally, I decided I was ready for the Eater of Worlds.
Oh, why is there another one, bro? Oh, I'm stuck. We can just ram dash through him. It's the easiest thing on the planet. Wow, dude. I feel like that was super pathetic. What? I feel like that was way too easy.
Feeling confident after another victory and having obtained shadow scales, I returned to Hell with a plan to find an obsidian skin potion and mine some hellstone in order to create an imp staff, only to die literally instantly. I returned and began ransacking the hellish neighborhood, stealing a hellforge in the process. After finding the potion I wanted, I wasted no time jumping into the lake of lava to mine as much hellstone as I could before the potion expired. I grabbed a large amount of obsidian in order to turn the hellstone into hellstone bars. And just like that, we had ourselves an imp staff, which I would then use to bully the Eater of Worlds again. Wanting to test the waters, I head straight to Skeletron to see what I'm dealing with, and quickly realize I need to make a few adjustments. Realizing I wasn't ready, I spent a short while finishing my second house instead. Seems like any time I got sidetracked, the game has a way of interrupting me, and shortly after, another blood moon rises. And this time, I learned one of the many joys of the Bigger and Bolder update: lightning.
Oh! Yeah, that was bad.
But it wasn't for nothing, as I had finally obtained a money trough. I proceed to finish my house, and then make my way to a meteor that had fallen in the Crimson. After cleaning it up, I turn my sights to Queen Bee, spotting a large hive near the temple. I prep my would-be arena, and am surprised to see a hornet drop a Bazaar, which would prove useful in the upcoming fight, only to then be struck down by an onslaught of angry wasps. Upon returning, I accidentally summoned the queen a little bit earlier than I had wanted.
Oh. Well, here we go. Fuck. Stun block. Here's mine. What did I get hit by? Oh no. Yeah, I'm actually too good. Dude, the chillet is so broken. The chillet is so broken. It's literally just an insanely better version of the Cthulhu shield, and you can find it before you fight any bosses. You fucking ram dashed, bitch.
She was no match for the chillet. I fight her again for good measure, and then I craft myself a void bag for more storage. With every boss I beat, I feel more and more confident, so I pivot my efforts to setting up a Deerclops arena. I summon him, but I am brought back to the reality as I am crushed by him throwing these tiny boulders that hit like a train.
Like, I genuinely believe he's not dead. What?
But oddly enough, when I went back to make adjustments, he hadn't despawned. The second time around, it showed a little more promise as I began picking up his patterns, but alas, I still didn't have it down and I died a second time.
Is he still there? He is, dude. What?
Luckily, the deer simply refused to despawn and it was easy pickings the third time around. Satisfied, I returned to the dungeon and began clearing a large arena adjacent to it, thanks to a couple of doors that led directly into a dirt wall. I had to make the arena much larger than the other ones just because I wanted to make sure I had enough room to maneuver when Boner Buddy started doing his rotating head trick. I found using the chill it with a cloud in a bottle allowed for a lot better movement options, and I opted to use that instead of the rocket boots. Once I was happy with my battleground, I went to the old man and I summoned Skeletron. With Skeletron dead, I explored the dungeon in hopes of a cobalt shield, but would not obtain one on this trip. However, I did manage to snag a bewitching table and 2 alchemy tables instead. I'm forcefully returned home, and then I set my sights back to hell, where I prep my dirt road some more. Once satisfied, I make my way home to reforge some gear, and then I return to finish what I started. Only to get fucking ratioed by a single lava slime who spawned behind me, flooding the whole road with lava and killing me with each step. A bit salty about the loss, I quickly farmed more voodoo dolls in order to give the wall another fight. Then I spent some time fishing, which is actually my least favorite part about this game, but I'll actually let myself explain that.
Wow, we first try one. I want to just... I hate fishing. If you know anything about me, which I'm sure you don't, the fishing in Terraria is... well, it's basic and simple. It's so obnoxious. It's such a slog. You know, I'm not saying they need to rework it, right? If you want to put in the time and get the things you need, you should feel empowered to do so. But what I am saying is, at least for the basic crafting materials, you know, ebbing koi, armored cavefish, all this, all that, make an NPC sell it. You know, like, what good is the fucking angler The angler is a completely wasted NPC in my opinion. Yeah, you can do his quests. Yeah, you can get stuff that makes your fishing better. But even after you get all the stuff that makes your fishing better, your fishing is still fucking dog shit. It still sucks. You know? And on top of that, make his ass sell bait. So, that's my 2 cents. I think the fishing is just, it's tedious. It's fucking annoying. It's just, it's unfun. It's unpleasant. I don't like it. Alright, here we go. First try, armor cavefish, just like the ebon koi. Granted, I do want to get a couple of them. Look at that. There it is. It's right there. You saw it. I saw it.
Apparently, Red Digit was listening to me complain and blessed me with a few first try catches. After I caught all my fish, I began searching for the shimmer. After setting up an infrastructure at the shimmer for villagers, I make my way back to hell one more time, summon the wall of flesh, and the fight begins. Taking down the wall of flesh was light work as I barely even took damage. Now the game was set to hard mode and the real challenges would begin, but I wasted no time identifying my goals and putting them into action. I began farming black recluses for their fangs. This took way longer than I would have liked, but finally we had our spider armor. Or so I thought, until I realized I needed a hard mode anvil to craft it. So we beelined it to the corruption to break some demon altars. Quickly, I began to search for the ore. And since I wouldn't be making armors, it would be no time at all before I had the anvil and some spider armor. Finally, the search for titanium or adamantite in order to get a hard mode forge. Then we begin to prep for Queen Slime by gathering Souls of Flight for some wings. The chillet makes light work of wyverns and we breeze through it. We gather Souls of Night next, and then we use them to craft our first pair of wings. We get another Blood Moon not a second later. The hard mode Blood Moon is much more annoying, but we still make it through all the same. The next morning, we locate our hollow and begin setting up an area for an arena. Once the arena was done, I went to the ocean to set up another living space. That I would soon learn was useless because the corruption had already consumed that side of the ocean. No villagers would move there. I would begin farming for resources only to have another blood moon appear, so I thought I would attempt to fish this time. I managed to summon a giant bloodworm that killed me instantly, but I returned and continued fishing to actually spawn Dread Nautilus, who I managed to drag back to my home arena and die instantly. As the night died down, I turned my gaze to the gelatin crystals in order to summon the Queen Slime, when yet another blood moon would appear. This night would be rough, but it did eventually come to an end. I would do some reforging with the money I had earned. I would fight the Wall of Flesh again to get the Firecracker as well. I reforged it to Legendary, and then I went to see how bad Queen Slime was. At first, our damage looked great. We shredded her down super quickly. Then she just despawned. So I tried again. And again, our damage looked good, but our health bar didn't. Just after she hit phase 2, I was dead. Determined I would try again, and with some clean flying, I took her down. Not wanting to waste any of my buffs, I quickly summoned her again, but this time I was not so fortunate. And to top it off, we still didn't get the Blade Staff. I would try this fight a lot, and just couldn't seem to have the luck or skill I had on my second try. I ended up moving the Dryad and the Witch Doctor in, so I could place a pylon as well as get the Dryad's defense buff. I decided to take a break from dying and continue to work on the home arena, when a mech boss decided to spoil my fun. It was barely even a fight. I decided I would need a much bigger arena, so I flattened an entire mountain and made just that. Only to have another blood moon. I fought my way through and then went straight back to building. Once I was done, I headed to the ice biome to find some frost giants, which was short-lived as the twins spawned and killed me. I did manage to get my hand on some frost cores and even a frozen feather in the end. I headed over to the Shimmer to make a cozy spot for the mechanic and the Goblin Tinkerer in order to get another pylon in place. I then humor myself with the Brain of Cthulhu. I head home, and now a better arena is in place, and I prepare myself to fight Skeletron Prime, who I believe should be the easiest thanks to the Chillet. Unfortunately, it wasn't as easy as I had thought. So I crafted the Cool Whip, shimmer and reforge it in order to get it to Legendary, then head back to see if I can deal with Queen Slime more efficiently. Nope, not this time. I gathered more resources, made flasks, and even made life force potions, which was now available to me through fishing in the hollow. And then I ran it back. This time I would actually succeed, but still no blade staff. So I ran it back again. And I died. I would face Queen Slime many more times, juggling between wins and losses and wins and losses, but I would just have no luck finding a blade staff. I was feeling super frustrated, and I just decided to say screw it and fight her buffless because I was sick of it. And that's when we finally hit some good luck. Not only did I beat the Queen Slime without buffs, but I also finally got the Blade Staff I was searching for. With my next upgrade acquired, I test my luck against Skeletron Prime. Wouldn't you know it, I take him down without much of a problem. I use my hallowed bars to make a Durandal and promptly shimmer reforge it. Shortly after, I get a friendly group of pirates that came along to send me to Davy Jones' locker. Once they're gone, I farm Skeletron for more hallowed bars in order to make some better armor. Then I spawn another mechanical boss and we send it straight to hell. Finally, there was only one more mechanical asshole left to kill, and I felt ready to do just that. And with that, I was able to turn my attention to Plantera. I mined up some chlorophyte and found a Plantera bulb in a very nice spot, so I began setting up my arena around it. In doing so, I found another Plantera bulb off in the distance, and I had planned to lure it over to my arena just to see how the fight would be. I lured it along a narrow path to the arena and was actually not terrified by it. The attacks were mostly avoidable, and for attempting to fight without buffs, I was actually feeling pretty good. So I geared up and headed back for the real deal. However, I felt like I needed more wiggle room for Plantera's second phase, and what better way to make room than to use an ass load of explosives. After clearing my arena once more, I popped my next bulb. With Plantera defeated, I headed to the dungeon in order to get the Desert Tiger Staff with a key I'd been holding onto for some time. I made my way to the Tinkerer to reforge my gear. Then I navigate to the temple to start disarming it of traps. And let me tell you, what a pain in the ass it was to clear this thing. It felt like days in that winding hellhole. Once I was happy with the traps being cleared, I went up to fight through a solar eclipse in order to find a deadly sphere staff. And thankfully, we found one on the first eclipse. On top of that, when we went to shimmer it, we even had a good reforge in only 2 tries. Things kept rolling forward, so I made my way back to the temple and set up an arena and gave the golem a buffless test fight. Not feeling too bad about my loss, I gathered more potions and returned for the run back.
Here we go. Oh, we got stuck in the wall. Dude! Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Let's just roll it back.
I take him down like he's nothing, and then I proceed to kill him 6 more times. Happy with my success, I wasted no time to summon the Pumpkin Moon to try and get some of the much needed summoner gear I would need, but unfortunately I would be left pretty much empty handed except for a witch's broom. I try my hand at Duke Fishron, but to no avail. I even get invaded by Martians, but I'm turned to chopped liver again and again and again. Things are really starting to feel like they ramped up now that we're towards the end of the game. I really started to feel the dread when I had fought the Empress of Light, but to no success. Again and again and again. There then came a point where I simply decided it was just time to try and progress. So I went to the lunatic cultist instead and I challenged him to a duel. Taking him down quick and easy, I then made my way over to the pillar that would give me some better summoner gear and quickly dealt with it. I crafted and forged a better whip and lastly a better summon. I then go to clear out the other pillars and I wait as impending doom approaches. The Moon Lord makes quick work of me. Now I'm not going to show you how many times I fought the Moon Lord, or there will be clips as long as this video is now. But it took me a lot of tries to get his patterns down and to understand that I simply wasn't going to survive enough hits from this guy in order to take him down. So I did the unthinkable, and I changed my loadout to try and take him on as a tankier class. I swapped from summoner to a hybrid melee focused solely on survival, switching up my weapons and accessories in order to attempt to take him down. Finally, I was ready to put it to the test. And we failed. But it did seem to show some promise. I collect another round of potions, and I summon the Moon Lord again.
Just whip one of the fucking hands. Got this. It's done. It's done, dude. It's done. It's done. It is the perfect shopping weather, isn't it?
All in all, I had a lot of fun running through the game on Master Mode, and I learned a lot from it. If you enjoyed the video, stay tuned for more, but unfortunately, I won't have a regular upload schedule as I do work full time. I plan on doing some streams as well as some more videos just like this one. The next one I'm working on is Calamity Infernum. I also plan to stream the new Resident Evil next week, so stay tuned for that if you're interested. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace!